Hello everyone, my name is Sai, and this is ADHD Studio Productions. Today I'm going to be playing Stardew Valley for the first time, but with a slight twist. I'm going to be completing the main game on mobile. This game's been out for, 10 years. Nevertheless, I've always wanted to try it, and since I don't have a computer, we'll be doing it like this. Now I don't know much about Stardew, except maybe the goal, to complete the community center. So for now, that's our goal. If I feel like adding more later, I will, and I welcome any suggestions. Honestly, any tips and tricks you'd like to share in the comments would be more than welcome. Now without further ado, let's play. I spawn in and immediately walk over to the gift box on my floor. It gifts me 15 parsnips from Mayor Lewis. Now in order to test run this game and make sure this run would even be possible, given how I'm recording this and playing it on my phone, I did end up playing for a bit and made it to the middle of spring before logging off and seeing I recorded absolutely none of it. I continued testing until I got it working. Unfortunately, that means the best I could record it at is 480p. Please do bear with me as I figure this out, and I would love any suggestions from you on how to get better quality. I head outside and start clearing an area to put my parsnips. Now when I was testing, I found that spring was really slow, and I felt like I made horrible decisions for actually attempting to make a profit. So I'll be playing a little quicker to ease the game going into summer and beyond. To start, I'm going to grow potatoes for money instead of parsnips, just because I found they made me a lot more for price and have a chance to drop extra potato. Feel free to tell me in the comments if I'm an idiot. We'll also be trying to get the backpack as quickly as possible, since the starting inventory is absolutely tiny. Now planting the parsnips, I'm going to keep everything together for ease and so that everything looks nice. And after I water everything, I head into town to Pierre's to grab a couple seeds. Pierre was still closed when I got there, so I end up breaking and entering to introduce myself to the local residents. I have to meet all 28 characters in the game for a quest, so I'll be introducing myself randomly throughout to people. Pierre finally opens and I head inside to check his wares. I buy some cauliflower for the community center and spend the rest on potatoes, well as much as I am able to anyway, before buying 2 parsnips and heading out. Traveling between the farm and various locations can be long and annoying, so I'll try to cut out as much of it as possible. When I get home, I immediately start planting the new crops I bought and water them. But since I'm completely broke, once my crops are watered, I head back into town and continue breaking the law in order to introduce myself to more people. The controls for mobile are actually pretty alright. You have the option to use invisible buttons and a joystick, or just to tap to move and break things. I chose the latter as it's much easier to plot a place and just let my character walk there, as opposed to bumping into stuff using the joystick. My only gripe is that the pathfinding will sometimes take my character down the longest path instead of the easiest route. After a quick trip, introducing myself to a few more people, I came back home and decided to go to bed at 3:30. There isn't much to do on the first day. I'll meet most of the people throughout the course of playing the game, and I'd much rather let my crops grow. Next morning, I head outside to see I've got a letter in the mailbox. I find a letter from Willing asking me to come to the beach to meet him. The quest says I have to visit before 5 o'clock, so I'll head down after tending to my crops. As I was clearing some space, I found some mixed seeds and decided to immediately plant them. The extra is always welcome, especially in the early game. I make my way down to the beach and walk straight into a cutscene, where I'm introduced to Willy and what I know will be the hardest part of this challenge: fishing. Now, I have no idea how you would usually fish in the main game, but here I have to tap and hold the screen in order for the green bar to lift, and when I release it, it drops. But I am absolutely livid that when the bar drops, it bounces, which can make you lose the fish. Whoever added this feature, I hope your noodles are always extra soggy. I catch a sardine before trying again, and failing immediately. Disheartened, I left, but on the way back, I found a shell. Too bad I couldn't pick it up. Curse this tiny inventory. I head back home and decide to do something about my tiny inventory. A quick aside here, when I first played, I sold my crops to Pierre because I didn't realize I could sell stuff from the farm in the shipping box. Now, I don't know if there's really a difference in selling via the box instead of the merchants, but I'd love if you guys would let me know. I finally craft a chest and place it down, putting all my junk in it. I decide to go to bed to skip the day, and when I awoke it was raining outside, which means I don't need to water my crops. I check my mail to see that I can purchase the 24-slot backpack, which is what we're going to be gunning for. I head into town and find a quest on the board from George. looking for a dandelion. Hopefully I can find one quickly, for more gold, for more crops. I decide to spend the rainy day searching for one, introducing myself to Clint and Mayor Lewis in the process. I didn't find one, so I went home. I awoke on the morning of day 4 and went outside to immediately water my crops. I decide to take the long detour into town so I can search for some dandelions. In my previous attempt, I had unlocked the community center and saw dandelions were on there, but I had trouble finding them to complete the bundle. So hopefully today I can find one for George and then find one for the bundle. I'll go into more depth about the community center when we unlock it, but I'll just be foraging for the forageables in spring. Also, I'm very forgetful, so you guys will often see me talking to the same NPCs multiple times, as I don't remember if I already met them. I continue my search and stumble across the archaeology building. I realized I hadn't introduced myself yet, so I slid in the door and met Gunther. He told me the previous curator stole all the exhibits, and he'd like me to help replace them. So I'll also try to complete the museum if I can, but we'll see which goal comes first, museum or the community center. After I head up to Joja Cola, which I didn't realize was here, but I introduce myself to Morris anyway and look around for more dandelions. Eventually I got a dandelion spawn, but I miss it completely. I proceed to pick a horseradish, check out the abandoned house, walk over to the wizard's tower, and for some reason find a piece of log I can't break, which I don't really know what's back there, but I guess we'll need a better axe to find out. And as I walked away, I find a second dandelion, and also spot the one I missed on entering. So that's great, right? 2 dandelion spawns in one day. I can rest easy knowing I fulfilled George's request and got one for the community center. Too bad my dumbass completed the quest, but because I didn't see my money increase, ran back with a dandelion in hand and gifted it to George. So I lost both dandelions. I was so pissed off and I still didn't get paid, so I left feeling both scammed and robbed. I walked around praying for another dandelion spawn when I see the quest tab flickering, and lo and behold, my money. So I only got robbed. Screw you, George. I picked some random forageables before heading home to sleep for the I wake up the next day to see a crow flying off with one of my parsnips, so I go and harvest one to complete the quest, netting me 100 gold. I also have 2 new quests, one to make a coop and get level 1 farming in order to unlock the scarecrow. I harvest all my parsnips and water what's left. I then find a letter in the mailbox from Joja Cola saying the mines are open. Now the real fun can begin. The mines is pretty much the only viable thing we can do for both stone and money. Once I get a ton of copper and craft a few furnaces, I'm going to be grinding the mines for both to get down to iron level and to get more copper to sell and upgrade my tools. Until I get iron, saving copper for sprinklers is unnecessary, since I can just grind lower levels for more copper later. Now whenever we finish watering and harvesting our crops, we head to Pierre to replenish the harvested crops, and in the off time, we go mining. This is also because I really dislike fishing on this version. And yeah, I could have fished for the past few days, but honestly, it sucks. Now after grabbing some potatoes with all the money I had, I planted them on my farm and went straight to the mine. After meeting Marlin, he gives me a rusty sword and I set the game to auto attack mode. You'll see why when I get into combat. On the first floor, I get unbelievably lucky and find the ladder on like the second rock and head down. On level 2, I find a slime and engage in combat. The rusty sword kinda sucks, but I kill the slime and find the passage down. On level 3, I find my first copper ore deposit and go ham. I go lower and lower, getting very lucky with ladders and getting more copper, making it to level 5 without much fuss, which netted me a new quest. I then got beat on by a gang of slimes, and this is why I dislike combat. I don't hate it, it's fine when there's... After that, I decide to head home since I don't have money to collapse in the mines, unlocking farming level 1 in the night. The next morning, Clint pays me a visit and gifts me the blueprints for a furnace, also offering to upgrade my tools for me. After he leaves, I get a message in the mailbox from Marlin asking me to slay 10 slimes, so I'll get on that after watering my crops for the day. I head into town where I see the quest to catch fish from Willy, and I happily decline it. Heading into Pierre's, I get 17 potato seeds. Why 17, you ask? It's because I can't count. I only needed 11 to fill up my plot completely, but I had 6 extra, so I just planted them, and back to the mines I go, getting a topaz immediately on level 1. But I circle back to the elevator and go down to level 5, grabbing absolutely everything I can find, including a quartz and a ton of copper. Eventually, I make it down to level 10 in the mine, finding a pair of leather boots which I immediately equip. I then head back to the farm since I'm low health and energy, and I found an infested cave on level 11 that I get mining level 1 and the cherry bomb crafting recipe. I go outside and find some fully grown potatoes, so I watered what I could and headed to the shop. I drop my harvest in the shipping box and immediately run down to the archaeology building to donate the samples I found. Getting a nice cutscene and buying a few parsnips instead of 2 potatoes, I head to my farm, planting the parsnips, and head back down to the mine. For the most part, the days will be the same. I'll be harvesting my crop, watering what I can, buying more seeds from Pierre, and that I harvest gets sold. When I have more time left, I just end up mining. And in the mines, I happen to find some geodes, an earth crystal, and a bunch of copper. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. And it's here in the mines that I have my first death to a couple of slimes, no less. And after running it with the Reaper, Linus saves me. And I think, thank you everyone for joining me on this adventure. I've always wanted to try it being a YouTuber, and with this being my first video and all, that has my voice anyway, I'm going to try and build this channel up from here. More and more, and over time, hopefully I can improve the quality of my videos. I am my own editor and recording studio, and I'm honestly recording this video in a closet right now. So the videos might take longer to process, even if I have the footage. This being my first script, it actually took me hours to write it all out. But I'll hopefully improve as time goes on. Next time we play, we're gonna try and get the backpack before the end of the episode, and hopefully get started on some bundles in the community center. Hit all the nifty buttons if you like my content, and maybe shoot me a comment about how poorly I play the game. With that, I bid you adieu.